to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, I'm going to be doing a very quick, randomly generated hypnosis session based on the usual random variables, but just not knowing what's going to come up in terms of location, nouns, the emotions, and also the language pattern to use. If you're listening to this, you've probably heard the concept before, so I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm just going to share my screen for those listening on YouTube. And the location for this particular session is going to be, here we go. Okay, it's a place called Paignton in the United Kingdom, known for beaches. And okay, so it's an old fashioned kind of English seaside resort in Devon. So kind of an old little sandy beach kind of thing. The random words are kneel, as in kneeling down, indirect, as opposed to direct, and association. And I really like the word association because it links to so many of the kind of issues that people have, is that they associate an emotion with a trigger, or they associate a belief with a context or an environment. So association is a really good noun to use for this one. And then the two random emotions are going to be shame and terror. Shame, which I think a lot of people have issues carrying around shame. So we're going to use that, and terror, normally something that you're afraid of. And the hypnotic language pattern, I'm just shuffling these now, and the top card here, Six of Hearts. Where do you feel? I'm going to read this out. This is a clever language pattern that creates a feeling by having the subject search for a feeling. It has the built-in presupposition that he does feel a particular thing, and he just needs to discover where it is. Where do you feel your greatest sense of success? Where do you feel a sense of healing and empowerment? Where do you feel the most love? Now, I actually use this language pattern a lot because in the same way that people know intuitively that for most people, anxiety is something they feel right in their gut or sometimes around their chest, there are more subtle emotions that also have an intuitive sense of where they are. And sometimes if I can detect from the facial expressions that they don't really know, I'll say, well, look, it's definitely not in your left toe, and it's definitely not in your fingers. So where do you think it is? And then normally, the two key locations where emotions and resourceful states are, either in the head, around the chest, or the gut. So it's the torso and the head. And they tend to have a location, and then I use mnemonics to kind of amplify that. So where do you feel? We're going to be using that, and I'm going to attempt to do this all in about 15 minutes. Let's have this in shot of the camera there. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, imagine breathing in a feeling of resourceful relaxation, and exhale any feelings of tension, stress, and worry. As you continue to breathe in and breathe out, if it's safe to do so, on the next outward breath, allow your eyes to close and continue to breathe in and breathe out. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, I want you to scan your body for where you feel any sensations of anxiety. And maybe it's not anxiety from the moment, but echoes of anxiety from a previous time. Maybe the anxiety is in your gut or your chest or somewhere else. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling, I want you to imagine that any feelings of anxiety are just dissipating, fragmenting, melting away. And then as you exhale, just get a sense that that anxiety is leaving your body. And notice that as it does, you're able to breathe a little deeper. You're able to relax even more than you were before. And your breathing goes even deeper, deeper in, and exhaled for longer, as you're able to go deeper and deeper, relaxed. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine what it would be like to be on a traditional British beach. Perhaps in the beautiful county of Devon, in the far southwest of the country. Beautiful countryside and quiet beaches. And I want you to imagine that you are on a beach in Devon. Perhaps there's soft sand and the occasional pebble and shells. And I want you to get a sense that you're there not on a sunny day, but on an autumn day. There's clouds in the skies. The seas are not smooth, they're choppy, and there's waves. It's not hot, but it's not cold either. And there's no one else around. And you can imagine walking down the beach, breathing in that fresh sea air and just feeling like you're going deeper and deeper, relaxed. I want you to get a sense that there on that beach, as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, I want you to imagine what would happen if you were to just kneel on the sand and look out to the waves. In many forms of meditation, they will adopt the posture of kneeling. And I want you to get a sense that as you kneel down, you're able to open up your diaphragm so you're able to breathe even deeper. And now I want you to scan your body for where you feel stress. And sometimes people feel stress around the temple, the sides of their head, the jaw. Sometimes stress feels like it's at the back of the head or even the neck or the shoulders. And I want you to scan your body for where you feel stress. And as you look out to the waves and you're breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, I want you to imagine that that stress starts to disappear, starts to melt away, starts to leave your body in your outward breath and leave you with a feeling of being more calm, more relaxed, more comfortable. I want you to get a sense that most of the issues that you may face in your life are not obvious, they're not direct. And I wonder what those indirect issues are. So many people worry about losing weight, but the weight they gain is just by eating excessive food as a coping strategy to deal with stress or anxiety. So the weight issue is an indirect issue, caused from a coping strategy to deal with something entirely different. And I want your unconscious mind to start piecing a puzzle together of what the indirect issues are affecting your life. What is it that you think is a problem, but is actually a symptom of a different problem? look out to the waves, look out to the sea, and just continue to get a sense that something is about to change. I want you to accept a belief system that emotions cannot exist without being associated with something or someone else. If I ask you to try and experience the feeling of love, you might recall a person, a situation, a moment, which means that love for you is associated with something else. I want you to get a sense that all emotions have an association. In the same way that sometimes you might see a boat on the sea. These boats just floating around all over the place. When they're stationary, they need an anchor to attach to something else. And I wonder, what emotions are attached to different things for you? And sometimes it's useful to have an association, but sometimes it isn't. Sometimes we need to break that rope, disconnect that anchor to detach those emotions from the associations. As you're kneeling there on the beach looking out, we're going to release two key emotions that probably aren't serving you right now. And the first is terror. Terror is an exaggerated form of fear. But terror can't exist in isolation. If you think of a horror movie, if you think of anything that involves terror, it is always linked to something else. It has that association, and I want you to think in your life, what is a cause of terror for you? What is your deepest fear? And there will be clues from what it's associated to. Is the biggest cause of terror that you will lose someone that you love? It's the biggest cause of terror that physical harm or emotional harm will happen to you, that something you value is taken away. I want you to get a sense that whatever terror is associated to gives you a clue as to your highest values, the things that are most important. And what if terror was actually an opportunity to protect and nurture the things that you value most? If it's terrifying for you to lose your mind, maybe that's a clue for you to change your nutrition, change your exercise, to cultivate an environment of good cognitive building blocks. If for you the most terrifying thing is losing someone close to you, I wonder what you can do today to make that bond even stronger. How could you be more thoughtful, more considerate? What could you do that would cement that bond even more than before? What if terror is an opportunity for you to feel intuitively more focused on doing the things that are most important for you? I want you to scan your body for where you feel terror. And for many people, it tends to be the gut or the heart. And I want you to think about what that is associated to. Maybe it's an image, a movie, or an idea, and I want you to imagine inversing that. Whatever the association is with terror is now an opportunity for you to do more to protect what's valuable. What if terror is the reconnaissance for you to prioritize your life in new and important ways. And then scan your body for shame. I want you to get a sense that shame is normally linked to regret, something that happened in the past, that if you had your time again, you would do something differently. Maybe the shame is your shame, or maybe it's the shame of other people. But again, shame will have an association, something it's connected to. And sometimes the shame is not connected to something direct, but something indirect. Something you should have done but didn't. A person you were meant to be but weren't that person. And I want you to get a sense that shame only has one true function. Reflection. If you truly are ashamed of something, that shame only has a purpose if it influences future thoughts, decisions, and behavior. And I want you to extract all the value from your shame, scan your body for where you feel that shame, and then mine that shame for gold. The value in shame is reflecting on the lesson it taught you. And first of all, is this shame even yours? Are you adopting someone else's shame? And if so, disconnect that link now. But if you truly feel ashamed, mine that shame for the lesson. What can you learn? What can you do differently in the future? And I want you to notice as you extract the value from that shame, the shame goes away. And what if we can turn shame into wisdom? I want you to locate the feeling of the shame and then imagine no longer kneeling on the beach but walking into the British seawater, and imagine that seawater can wash away that shame. Allow the shame to completely go, to feel like it's washing off you, just like sand on your hands, if you were to put them in the sea, would then disappear. So will the shame. And in doing so, I want you to get a sense that you can leave the sea with a sense of self-respect and a sense of wisdom. Terror is reconnaissance into your highest values, and shame is a source of wisdom for you to become wiser than you were before, to make better choices, to raise your standards. And then notice where you feel a new sense of wisdom and integrity, which is living by your values. Where do you feel that wisdom, perhaps, there in your head? And where do you feel that integrity, maybe in your heart? Expand it, amplify it, resonate it, and then lock it in, knowing that you can access these resources of wisdom, integrity, and self-respect whenever you need to. Now it's time to leave this beach, this Devon beach, and return to the present, listening to my voice firmly in the present right now. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. As I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken with no terror, no shame, but instead wisdom, integrity, and self-respect, and everything that you have indirectly or directly associated with those new, empowering, positive emotions, starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.